Midway between Hawaii and the Philippines, among the hundreds of atolls strewn across the South Pacific, lies the paradise of Pohnpei. Who were her first people? Did they come from distant shores in dugout sailing canoes like this one? While most of Micronesia has been charted and explored, a part of Pohnpei remains one of the great mysteries of the world. Dubbed the Venice of the Pacific, the ancient city of Nan Madol was home to the Saudolor dynasty, the earliest rulers of Pohnpei. More than 90 islets make up Nan Madol. All are man-made, erected on the reef flats. The first of the prismatic basalt columns is believed to have been laid around 500 AD, the last 1,000 years later. There are so many mysteries behind Nan Madol. Where did the rock come from? Where was it quarried? How did it get here? And most importantly, what happened to those people? It is said if you listen closely, you can hear the whispers of the lost people. Historians estimate as many as 2,000 nobles and high chiefs may have lived at Nan Madol, and that they were looked after by 10,000 others who fished the sea and farmed mainland Pohnpei. A spiritual place, Nan Madol is believed to have been a religious center and the resting place for the kings of the Saudolor dynasty who ruled for hundreds of years. Their powers are said to have been so great that even today, Pohnpeians are careful not to disturb those who rest in the ruins. The islets span 200 acres. We are able to explore by paddling through a network of shallow waters. We have come to this place with a Pohnpeian woman who petitioned and received the blessing of the current king of the local municipality.
Not yet.
Legend says the first planners and builders of Nan Madol were two brothers, Olasopa and Olasipa. They wanted to build a place of worship at the base of Soquez Ridge on Pohnpei's north shore. But the brothers soon determined the venue was inharmonious and eventually found their way to Nan Madol, where they believed they had found the perfect location for worship. Oral histories indicate Pohnpeians believed their souls would depart their bodies and go underwater, which may explain why they decided to build at Nan Madol. While Nan Madol is a mystery, archaeologists do not argue that the builders of this place had the engineering knowledge and sophistication of the architects of the Great Pyramids.
We know for sure that some of the islets were rectangular and the corners were oriented in north-south. We have taken the measurements and we know that they must have some mathematical concepts, geometric concepts of how things should be built.
It is assumed the mathematical knowledge was transferred from one generation to another. Others have tried to replicate what the builders of Nan Madol were able to do, but could not. Mythology suggests the large basalt columns were magically flown through the air and placed in the city. Some of the columns weigh several tons. Since such material is not found anywhere near Nan Madol, where did it come from?
I really think that they're from Pohnpei, but not from the immediate area where Nan Madol is.
But there is no record of a quarry. Even if there were, how was all of the basalt transported?
We think, presumably they were moved by some kind of a large bamboo raft.
By the time the first Europeans arrived in the 19th century, Nan Madol had been abandoned with no trace of residents. What caused such a resourceful people to vanish in thin air?
As we work there more, archaeologists, we are beginning to believe that it was a sudden abandonment. And oral histories also indicated that there was a war.
In the latter part of the dynasty, Nandoas, which means mouth of the high chief, became the main fortress of Nan Madol.
this is where the high priest lives. And this area here right in front is where they bring in all the bones of the powerful people or the high chiefs. And the people of Nan Madol before come here to worship.
Nandoas has the highest walls and sits at the mouth of the city, suggesting it may have also served as a fort.
Now this dungeon here is, as you can see, some of the stones are gone. It's been taken by this great warrior.
The only warrior to ever escape such captivity. An even greater warrior was Isokelekul, said to be born of the thunder god on a neighboring island. As the story goes, he and his men attacked and defeated the Saudalor in the early 1600s. Of all the warriors who tried to topple the Saudalor, the sole victor is said to be buried right over there, the tomb of Isokelekul.
It's inside this wall here, the tombstone of the Isokelekul.
The caretakers of this place are the only ones who may enter the grounds. More than 1,500 years after Nan Madol was built, so many questions remain unanswered. Modern Pohnpeians are inspired and proud of this place because it shows what can be accomplished with cooperation and hard work.
I don't know of any other place that is similar to Nan Madol in terms of the construction, the materials used for the construction itself, and also the layout of the place. I think it is unique.
And still very much a mystery. Pohnpei lured ancient explorers and adventurers with her most abundant resource, water. Blessed with a higher elevation and generous rainfall, the atoll is supplied with a constant flow of life-sustaining fresh water, every drop cherished and channeled to keep fields and forests green. On this humid day, the water is for play. This freshwater stream is home to the sacred eels of the Lasaiilip clan. The eels move up and down mountain streams, foraging for food. The children are able to attract the eels by shaking a can filled with fish juice into the water. While most children steer clear of the eels, the Lasaiilip actually play with them. It is said they are protected from harm. The clan's high chief says with seriousness, the legend of the eel clan began long ago when an egg fell from the sky. When the shell cracked, out came an eel. A couple picked up the eel and decided to eat it. They gave the head of the eel to their daughter, who decided to bury it. The old man says the head grew another body and then ate the couple but spared the daughter. And she became the matriarch of the Lasaiilip, the eel clan people. These are the Pingalap people. They make up one of 5 municipalities on the main island of Pohnpei. Today they celebrate a lifestyle of hard work and good humor. They have picked teams that are racing against the clock to do many of the things they do every day, such as picking, husking, and shredding coconuts. The Pingalap are also a people who desperately want to preserve their culture. This stick dance is similar to the one their forefathers would perform before going to war. Since such dances are not practiced and performed as they once were, some of the translation has been lost.
Right now we're trying to preserve what we have. I'm sure some of what you call songs that we use today, we are singing some of the songs that we don't know the meaning, the words that we are saying. We don't know some of the meanings of the words. We're just trying to get whatever we have now and like put into writing or into tape so it can be preserved.
For hundreds of years, the people of Pohnpei have counted on the mangroves that surround the island. They are a source of life. The tree roots and branches make ideal habitat in which fish feed and give birth. The dark, quiet forest acts as a buffer between the sea and the land, preventing shoreline erosion. And the mangroves provide wood to build homes and plants to cure illness. Silipa has been coming here since he was a boy. His father taught him how to catch an island delicacy, mangroves crab. The crabs feed on tree leaves, among other things, but they are not an easy mark. One must work to find them. Sometimes Silipa gets lucky and finds one out in the open when it is moving with the tide from one side of the channel to the other. One must be careful with these crabs. Their pincers are vice-like and can crush a bone. Silipa searches for signs where a crab may have burrowed into the mud. He probes a fallen tree trunk. As he reaches into the hole, Silipa makes a mistake. The crab has clamped down on one of his fingers. He calls for his nephew to grab his machete and come quickly. The crab will not let go. Silipa will have to separate the claw from the crab. Though he does not show it, Silipa is in pain, but has the presence of mind to tell the boy to hold the crab down and remain very still. And then... Many Pohnpeians live off the land and the sea. Silipa is among a handful still willing to work as hard as he does for a crab or two. But all Pohnpeians understand the health of the mangroves is vital to their future. Today they have provided again. Silipa brings home dinner for his family, an island delicacy that cost a little more this time. Pohnpei has been occupied 4 times. Spain sold Pohnpei to Germany, which built a grand church only to see the Japanese tear it down during World War II. This bell tower is all that's left. The last country to occupy Pohnpei was the U.S. Some Pohnpeians will tell you the most recent invaders are the foreign fishing fleets. While they cannot legally drop their lines within 12 miles of the atoll, fish populations have still been drastically reduced. If the reduction of pelagic fish were not already a concern, Pohnpeians who depend on a daily catch of reef fish really began to worry when the local government established marine protected areas closing off more than a dozen traditional fishing grounds.
The clan kind of complained about this is their fishing ground. And what we told them is, this is going to be, we preserve this area, and looking at there's going to be a spill out effect.
Donald David and his team of researchers monitor the marine protected areas. It has been challenging to convey the importance of closing off the fishing grounds.
We started from the community level, and these people start to get the idea of this MPA, and they're the one that really came out and initiate the sites.
Eugene Joseph and his group with the Conservation Society of Pohnpei are going below and beyond to farm another area that has been closed off to fishing. That is a sponge. They are developing a sponge farm, which is an environmentally friendly aquaculture project, and it offers an alternate source of income for the people. Sponges are a living animal. A part of this one is being harvested. Sponges are filter feeders. They take in oxygen from the water and expel waste to stay alive. Because Pohnpei is surrounded by mangroves, the tidal changes bring in nutrients for the sponges to feed on. The idea in sponge farming is to multiply the numbers. It is done by cutting broodstock into pieces and then growing them out.
Our main goal to create marine protected areas on Pohnpei to protect marine biodiversity. Most of these sponges live in sandy areas, 20 feet down to 60. We never take them off the water. We try our best to leave them in the water.
If they are out of the water for even 1 minute, they will die, especially if recently cut. The men also know to have soft hands. They are careful not to squeeze the sponge. That too can damage or kill them. They are preparing these cuttings to be hung on underwater lines that have been strung about 20 feet below the surface. Once on the line, they will triple in size in 1 year. The divers regularly check and clean the lines of algae. The mortality rate for sponge in Pohnpei is quite low. 95% of them will make it. Once the sponges have grown to market size, they are brought to the shoreline where the process of killing them begins. They are removed from the water and squeezed by hand, coming one step closer to market.
For now, we're selling them to stores and tourists, and we have some local buyers also.
The dead sponges are returned to the ocean for another 4 or 5 weeks, so they are kept wet during the rotting process. Once the sponges are rinsed in fresh water and washed, they are laid out to dry. The only thing left to do now is find a buyer. It is hoped they will find many buyers and that sponge farming in Pohnpei will become a viable industry. The elders are pleased when young people practice their culture. The people of U celebrate their good fortune, and there is good reason. Blessed with rain and sun and fertile land, the people prosper. The culture thrives. It is rich and filled with legend. Preserving this way of life will not be easy. Pohnpei melukayan come de ramas and se locto concoras. The people of Pohnpei invite outsiders in. They ask only that you leave it as you find it. For even they tread lightly on sacred lands, respect the beliefs of their elders, and share in the care of this paradise they call Pohnpei.